this is Matt from Ace Appliance in Toledo, Ohio. Welcome back to another in-home diagnostic video brought to you by ApplianceVideo.com.
Okay, we've got a Whirlpool side-by-side refrigerator that we're going to do a compressor install on. Basically the first thing we're going to do is we're going to tap the system and reclaim the refrigerant. And we've just got a self-piercing tap valve that we're going to put on the process stub here. Alright, so what we're going to tap here is the process stub. It's a 5/16 line. So we're going to use this insert here. There's two different inserts, one for 1/4 inch and one for 5/16. Put this on just like that. Just take the cap off, get it out of our way. So we're just going to tighten these down. Snugged up on there. And we've got this little stem here. You put that on right on the tip of like the Schrader, and you put your cap on, push it on. Twist it in. That pierces the line. And remove it. Now your Schrader is going to cut it off. So the line is tapped. Alright, on the out of the reclaimer, we're going to hook the hose up. We're going to hook that into the reclaim tank. That. We're going to take the line off of our hose. Alright, we're going to run our blue line off the gauges to the inlet of the reclaimer. We're going to take our yellow line off the back side and run that to our tap valve. Like that. Okay, so now we are going to open up all of our valves. Turn the reclaimer on. And we're going to open up the valve here. And that's going to start taking refrigerant out. Alright, and we're just going to wait for this to pull down into a vacuum. Alright, well you see now we're in about a 30-pound vacuum. So that means all the refrigerant has been reclaimed. So we can go ahead and shut the reclaimer down. We'll turn the tank off. Shut the reclaimer down. Turn off all of our valves. Alright, and we're just going to disconnect all of our lines. Okay, now we've reclaimed all the refrigerant. Alright, what we're going to do now, before we unbraze all the fittings, we're just going to loosen up the bolts for the compressor. Sometimes the heat from brazing can really cause it to expand and you have a hard time getting them out. And they are 7/16 bolts. Okay, we got them all loosened. We're going to go ahead and remove the starting components here. Just a little clip. Get those off, and you got your ground wire there that we're going to remove. Just get your wiring all out of the way. Just like that. We're going to remove our tap. And right now when you remove it, it's actually sucking air into the system a little bit because you've pulled a vacuum on it. And there's your hole from the tap. We're going to be removing this and putting the process stub on and unbrazing the other two lines here, the high and the low side. Alright, what we're going to do is just kind of get these water lines up and out of the way a little bit. Just don't want to melt them. So we're just going to sort of pull it up here and just try to tape them somewhere. Just up like that is all. If you had a zip tie, that'd be a better thing. I just don't have any handy right now, so making do with what we got. Alrighty. There's the first one there. Okay, we got the compressor unbrazed. Alright, we just took a wet rag, just kind of cooled all the fittings down, let it sit for a minute. We're just going to remove the mounting bolts for the old compressor here. Okay, we removed the mounting bolts. We're just going to go ahead and lift the compressor out here and pull these mounting feet off. I've got our new compressor here. Put the feet back on this one. And a compressor upside down just because of the oil that's in there. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and, well, before we set that in there, we'll go ahead and clean up these fittings here. Alright, so we're just going to go ahead and clean up our fittings real good here. Alright, take our new compressor, we're going to set it in. Mounting bolts. Okay. Just gonna tighten them down. Don't have to really torque them too hard, but you don't want them loose because that compressor does vibrate a lot, and they will wiggle loose, cause some noise. Okay, we're just going to go ahead and put a little bit of flux on each of the fittings here. It's just going to kind of clean up the metal. Makes for a cleaner braze. And we're also, while we're thinking about it, going to take the Schrader valve out. If you don't take that out, it'll melt it. Just got a little gasket on there. All right, now we're just gonna mount everything, put everything in place here. And I'm just gonna put, this is actually like the back of an old evaporator. Just use it as a heat shield. Just kind of put it up underneath there. It's a little added protection on the water line. Okay, we're just going to be brazing in our high side line now. Okay, we're just going to cool them down now with a rag here. And we're just going to do an inspection on them. Make sure it took all the way around. All right, we're gonna go ahead and put our Schrader back in. You need like a little wrench that's got a Schrader tool on it. Snug that up there. All right, so now we're gonna pull a vacuum on it and make sure it holds a vacuum. It's gonna let us know that we don't have any leaks. Hook our lines up. So we're going to take our blue line to go to the process stub. Yellow line here is going to go to the vacuum tank, or the vacuum pump. Got power. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and turn the vacuum pump on. And we're going to open up the gauges. You should see it pull into a vacuum here. And we're going to leave this on for, well, we're going to leave it on for like 5 minutes, and then we're just going to shut it off and make sure the vacuum holds and it doesn't raise up. If it does, then we know we've got a leak. We're going to have to inspect our brazes a little bit more. If it does hold, after 5 to 10 minutes, you're going to turn the vacuum pump back on, and typically you want to let the vacuum pump run for about 40 minutes. All right, we've been pulling the vacuum for about 40 minutes now. We're going to go ahead and shut it off here. Yeah, and we're just going to let it sit for a couple minutes, make sure it holds the vacuum. Okay, and we're holding about 26 pounds vacuum right now. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and take our yellow line off of our gauges, hook it up to the refrigerant tank. Again, this valve is closed right now, or the gauges are closed, so no refrigerant is flowing through. All right, before we zero out our scale, we're just going to go ahead and open up our tank. And we're just going to get the air out of the lines. Just crack it just a little bit here. Okay. All right, we're going to go ahead and turn the scale on here. And I've got my tool bag just waiting or sitting on the line here. Just that way the line doesn't get bumped or pulled. I can throw off the scale. So I'm going to go ahead and zero it out. And we're going to add 5 ounces of refrigerant. So we're going to go ahead and open up the gauges. All right, I'm going to go ahead and crack the gauges open here. Okay, so we've charged it with our 5 ounces here, and now we're just going to go ahead and put the starting components back on and power up the compressor. Okay, we're going to go ahead and just remove the old starting components. Hook up our new ones. Put our capacitor on here. Just like that. And we're just gonna, these 3 prongs just go right on the side of the compressor. We're going to hook our ground wire up. Pull our heat shield out of the way here. Run our water lines back down where they're supposed to be. And right now we've got the refrigerant tank off. We're just going to power up the compressor just to suck the remaining refrigerant out of the lines here. We just have the little clamp that we're going to put on here. Just holds the starting components in place. Okay, compressor's been running for 2 minutes now, so that's going to evacuate. Our pressure's drawn down here. We're, almost at a steady pressure of 0. So we're going to go ahead and shut the gauges down here. Or actually, there's a little bit left in that line. So that pulled through that one. Okay, we're going to go ahead and just shut our gauge down here. The compressor is running. We're moving heat. We got hot on this line. Right there, the high side. Low side's cooling down. So we're just going to go ahead and remove our line here. Remove our line from the gauge, or from the refrigerant tank. Okay, and we're just going to go ahead and put the back panel on. Alright, we're just going to go ahead and put our Schrader cap back on. Or I mean our process stub cap. Covers the Schrader valve. Snug it down. Okay, we're just going to go ahead and put our back panel on here. Just 1/4 inch screws. Okay, basically we're just gonna, typically it's gonna take 12 to 24 hours for temperatures to completely stabilize, but you should notice it start cooling within about an hour. Okay, and that was the installation of a compressor with a process stub, reclaiming and recharge of refrigerant, and that's gonna complete the repair.
Thank you for watching another quality video from ApplianceVideo.com.